Hello and welcome to Tennis with Evelyn. And today I'm going to go over who are the top 10 greatest female tennis players of all time. Now, this list is very subjective, but I'm going to give you the criteria that I am utilizing. It's going to be total tournament wins, of course. Grand Slams will play a major factor in it, but not a total factor in this because there was a time when not everyone played the Australian Open, and even as late as the 1970s, the French Open wasn't played by everyone. That had a lot to do with the World Team Tennis. There was a thought after tennis became open that maybe that would become the most important. Remember that song, Philadelphia Freedom? Well, that was about that World Team Tennis. It didn't catch on, not like the Grand Slams and the prestige of it. And today they are even more prestigious than they probably ever have been. So that plays a role. Longevity is a big role. Did you have a long career? Some of these players had short careers, and I'll go over how that impacts their place on this list. And did you dominate your rival, or did you even have a rival because you were so dominant? The last is an asterisk, basically, and that is what impact did you have on tennis outside the court and just your wins? Many of these players are really huge ambassadors for the sport. Now, this is an all-time list. It doesn't mean that some of these players from like 100 years ago, if they came back, they'd beat the number 50 player today, because tennis today is it has a lot of depth that they didn't have at one time. But these players are the greatest of all time, and I am considering where they played within their era. So, with no further ado, let's take a look at number 10. Monica Seles, winner of 9 Grand Slams. The only one she didn't win was Wimbledon. She was a finalist in 1992. In 1993, in January, she was on top of the world. She had just beaten Steffi Graf in the Australian Open. But then in April of that year, she was stabbed by a deranged fan of Steffi Graf while playing in a tournament in Germany. And she didn't come back for another couple of years. And that really took away from some prime years in her career. She did come back and she won an Australian Open. That is so to be commended. Went to a couple of US Open finals, but her career was unfortunately cut short by something really terrible. It's great to see her at the US Open. You oftentimes see her coming back and see her up in one of those luxury boxes or just sitting in her regular old seat. She was a great champion. Okay, number 9. Billie Jean King. The USTA Center in New York City is named after her. It used to be the Fed Cup. It's now the Billie Jean King Cup, and it is aptly named for her, not only for her pursuits on the court, where she won 12 Grand Slams and 6 Wimbledons, but also what she did for women. And it wasn't just equal pay, it was just helping us get paid at that time. She's very well remembered for her win against Bobby Riggs in the Battle of the Sexes. I remember that I was a kid when that happened and being so happy on the school bus going home. And I do remember even my dad rooted for Billie Jean King. He thought that Bobby Riggs was a little bit brutish, kind of acting like a bit of a pig. I think that was part of the act or part of his persona. But either way, everybody, it seemed like to me, was really rooting for Billie Jean King, and she deserves this number 9 spot. The only reason why she's not higher is because everybody else ahead of her is so successful. So, number 8 is the arm, Margaret Court. She has a court named after her, Margaret Court on the Australian Open. She's Australian. She won 24 Grand Slams. You hear her name a lot, mainly because Novak Djokovic is chasing her Grand Slam titles. He's at 24 with her. She won 11 Australians, not quite as difficult as the others. At that time, it wasn't quite as competitive, but she did win the Grand Slam in tennis, and she won as a mother, and I think that's very inspiring to a lot of people. Okay, so who is number 7? Chris Evert, that beautiful two-handed backhand, the queen of clay, 125 straight matches on clay, 7 French Opens, and she probably would have won more. She was a phenomenal athlete. Don't let her demur. You hear her now as a commentator trying to act as though she wasn't a great athlete. You can't win all those tournaments, 18 Grand Slams, without being an absolute physical specimen. That's why I picked that picture of her. And the only knock I would have on her is maybe she didn't have as good of a record against her main rival when her main rival began to start beating her in the early to mid 80s. Although she did come back and win some major tournaments even during that time frame. She was very dominant during the 70s. Okay, so who's number 6? Helen Wills Moody from the 20s and 30s. And I wanted to pick this picture because look how athletic she looks. Do not be fooled by Little Miss Poker Face. It's great that she's next to Chris Evert because they share a lot as far as their demeanor. She won 8 Wimbledon, same amount as Roger Federer, and she lived to a ripe old age and lived to see Martina Navratilova break her record. She was quite a player. Everyone talks about how she just never missed and she was unflappable, therefore earning the Little Miss Poker Face reputation that she had. She won 19 Grand Slams. Phenomenal champion from the 20s and 30s. Okay, so who is number 5? Mo Connolly. She was nearly unbeatable during a stretch from 1951 to 1954. She was the first woman to win the Grand Slam in tennis. She was someone that they say you basically, when you played her, she would not let you breathe on the court. And if you look at her, she looks so sweet and so innocent, but she was an assassin on the court. She had just won Wimbledon in 1954, and she was from San Diego. She went for a horse ride. She was an avid equestrian, and a cement truck hit her and damaged her leg to the extent to which she had to retire from tennis. And a number of years later, maybe a decade or so later, she also died at a young age. A lot of little tragedies in her life. I saw a made for TV show about her in the 80s, and she's kind of a little bit forgotten, but the 1950s was beginning to be a little bit more competitive, and everyone that has ever played against her that's still alive just talks about how unbeatable she was. Okay, so we are moving into some really great players at this point. Steffi Graf, or as Bud Collins would call her, Fraulein Forehand. She won 22 Grand Slams, and so many of them, it was very kind of evenly matched in all of them. She was good on grass. She was good on hard courts. She was great on clay. She was a great player. Beautiful forehand. I think her serve was underrated. The only knock I would have on her is that her main rival, Monica Seles, was out for a couple of years that allowed her to really go unchecked, so to speak, and win so many tournaments. You don't hear from her as much anymore. Now, she is married to Andre Agassi. You hear from him a lot, but she's kind of a quiet mother of 2, and she was a phenomenal player. We are moving into the top 3 right now, so let's see who these players are. Suzanne Lenglen. You think of the 1920s, the roaring 20s with the flapper. Well, this is your poster woman for that. I picked this picture of her because if you've ever played doubles, you know how they tell you don't watch your partner, keep your eyes in front of you. Well, this gentleman, she's playing mixed doubles, you can tell he's looking at her and he absolutely cannot believe what she's doing, how high she is jumping. And that was what she was known for, her athleticism. They said that there was one time when they told her she had something at the bottom of her shoe, and instead of just, looking in front of her, she actually put her foot up behind her and just picked it off like that. That's how flexible she was. She did not lose. She played one match against Helen Wills Moody and won it. Now, she did have home court advantage and played her in the south of France. Kings were actually there to watch that match. She didn't lose. The American delegation sent Mola Mallory to France to play her, and they were so thrilled that she got to 2-3 in one of the sets against Suzanne Lenglen. Such was the reputation, such was her record. She simply did not lose. Not only did she not lose, she didn't lose games, she didn't lose sets. She didn't like to lose either. She was a little bit on the fractious side. She was known for sipping on her brandy and sugar cubes during a match. She did play the U.S. Open once, was sick during it, and really basically never came back. She won the 1919 match, which is at that time was a classic, over Chambers. And one of the things, the asterisk that you could put beside her, besides winning 8 Grand Slams, she won 6 Wimbledons and an Olympic gold, is those stadiums, the Wimbledon Stadium and the French Open Stadium. Many of the people at that time would say they were built, the ones that are still standing now, were built so that more people could get into those stadiums to see Suzanne Lenglen. That was her reputation at the time. She left this world at way too early of an age and turned pro after that match against Helen Wills Moody. So we never got to really see those two play very much against each other. Boy, would that have been something. But one of the great champions of all time. Okay, so who is number 2? Martina Navratilova, winner of 9 Wimbledons, winner of 18 Grand Slams, probably would have won more if she had played the Australian Open, which was on grass. She forgot how to lose from 1983 to 1985. She only lost one match in 1983 to Kathleen Horvath at the French Open. She won 6 Grand Slams in a row. She just didn't lose. And not only that, but it was very demoralizing. She went out there and served and volleyed you off the court. She came at a time when the graphite rackets and the better equipment suited her well. She also has an asterisk beside her because she was the first to really be, the buff kind of jock athlete with the muscles, and it really intimidated everyone. When she was playing in the 80s, I thought she was the greatest player of all time. I didn't think anyone else could come by and take that from her, but someone did. And guess who that is? Bet that's a hard guess. Serena Williams, winner of 23 Grand Slams, winner of a major while she was pregnant. 2 great eras. You could basically say by the time she supplanted her sister in 2002 into 2004, and then she even had a great later career from 2012 to 16, you could even maybe say to 2017, and even beyond. Even after she had her first child, she came back and she had a baby in, I think, September of 2017, and then comes back, or it may have been August of 2017, and then comes back in 2018 and almost wins Wimbledon. That is, that's stuff of legends, right? Her sister would probably be on this list, and you could make an argument that she should be because that's her only maybe rival that she had. She was the type of player who could serve you off the court, she could hit you off the court. She's the greatest player that I've ever seen play. The amount of the power that she had was very intimidating. She was very intimidating, and also just the power. There's Never been anyone like her. And I guess it begs the question, will there be anybody like her, or is there anybody now who I might put or could start to consider putting on this list? And I guess Iga Swiatek comes to mind. She has won 6 Grand Slams, and she's 23 tournaments, and she's under 25, so she has a long way to go. Who knows? I don't know that I would put her over Serena, but she does have a long time to go. She has a potentially long career. So does Coco Gauff. Sabalenka is very good, and Naomi Osaka, of course. I think she would need to win something on grass or well, on grass or clay to maybe be considered. So right now, on the horizon, it does not look like there is anybody who's going to take the GOAT's mantle right now. Let me know what you think. If you think I got it right, or might shift some people, add, subtract, I would love to hear what you would think of this. And please click like, please subscribe, and I hope you come back to my channel.